so as he's setting up, it gives us a good opportunity to just say we are here to talk about a prescription for stress, which is kind of a fun topic. I wanted to share with you how we came about that topic. Melissa and I were on the phone talking about this new and exciting event here at Granite Bay. Having worked in Sacramento and conducted the eWomen's Network sessions there, she knew it was going to be successful, but she wanted a topic that people would want to come to and had some relevance in their lives today. Now, we're in the middle of February of 2004, and here in the middle of February, we actively recognize that we've probably come through the holiday season, gotten into the new year, and looked at the calendar and went, February 18th, how did that happen? And that's where Melissa and I got on the phone and said, well, what would be the ideal topic? And in the midst of that conversation, we got off course about our families, our spouses, our friends, our new business clients, all of the exciting opportunities that are coming our way, and realized, I think we might need to talk about stress. Because it's not just us that are talking about it, but we're hearing from the people that we actively support in our client base, telling us that they are experiencing more stress than ever. The thing I most commonly hear is there's not enough time. And what I'd like to argue is actually we, in this generation right now, in this decade, have more time than ever before. We have more technology resources and more tools that give us everything faster, quicker, and easier. So it's really not a matter of not being enough time, is it? Yeah. Actually, what's happening to us is we're coming across very well. Now that we have more time, we're trying to fit more things in. Even our kids are overscheduled. Have you seen that, where they're trying to go to the gym, the swim class, the recitals, and also go to their after-school tutoring, as well as their advanced reading classes, everything that they're trying to do. So it's not just us that's overscheduled, but our children are becoming overscheduled. So that's why we're talking about managing stress, because it's all around us. And Greg is ready. Right on. So now that we can do some graphical representation, and we know what stress is, each of you has your own representation of how you experience it. So let's talk about when you experience stress, quickly name some things that it does to negatively impact your life. When you're feeling stress, what does it do to you?
Can't sleep.
You can't sleep. It takes away your energy. You're kind of at a low. You get grumpy, cranky, moody, right? What else? You get hungry? Yeah. I need food. You forget things. Yeah, things start to get kind of out of order. There's a lot of disorder and you're being forgetful. You can't quite figure out, oh, I can't remember that. I can't remember. What else?
Shut down.
You shut down. Yeah, some people really go into that avoidance. I get into that overwhelm and, let me just shut down and not deal with anything at all. Mm-hmm. Negative outlook. So then everything that we're projecting into the future is, it'll never work. It's not going to happen. Okay, so we know we're less productive. We have no clear vision for our future that can take a positive approach because we're beaten down by stress. So what do we want positively? What do we want our ideal vision to look like when we're not stressed? How do we feel? We feel balanced. We remember things. We get where we're obligated to go on time, and we like it. We feel confident. Yeah, and we project confidence. When we feel it, it just exudes out of us. We almost can't control it coming out. What else? Energized. We sleep well and yet have high energy when we get up in the morning. We're motivated, inspired, can't wait to do stuff. What else?
Get more done.
We get more done. We're more productive. We're more productive. Again, we have a positive outlook in the future. So does that sound like our vision for what we want for ourselves today? Let me hear it loud. Does that sound like what we want? Yes! Let's get more done. Let's have a positive outlook to the future. So the way that we're going to talk about doing that is by using some specific tools. Remember, this is called prescription for stress. So your first 3 tools are kind of like quick injections. If you're bogged down by stress, it's just suddenly stuck up on you. You don't know how it came to you. Now you could look back and maybe figure it out, but it's hit you now and you need to address it. Here are 3 tools you can use. Number 1, by the way, you have a paper in front of you. You might take notes on that paper. Number 1, your first tool is monitor your diet and exercise. If you are in the middle of a very stressful situation, monitor your diet and exercise. Can anybody tell me why? Somebody here. Your immune system is going to, when you're stressed out, what happens is your body physically takes on the mental stressors. And so you'll start to feel sick and tired, and your immune system starts to weaken. So the way you build your immune system back up is by making sure that you inject it with foods that you need or vitamins that you need. And also that you eliminate toxins, things that are going to bring you down. Too many sugars, too much chocolate, caffeine, lots of sodas coming into your system. So if you are feeling stressed right now today, stop with the caffeine and eat some foods that are going to give you the vitamins and nutrients that you need, and you're going to immediately feel a lift. Monitor your diet and exercise like any doctor would tell you. It's a quick injection. You guys knew that one though, right? All right, the second one I think that you're going to be a little bit more impressed with. This one's called Communicate Your Truth. Communicate your truth. And my husband looks at this and he says, you mean don't lie? Well, yeah, that too, honey. Yes, don't lie. Have you ever told a white lie or gotten caught up in saying to somebody, maybe giving them an excuse for why you couldn't be somewhere, and then you had to remember that excuse? Lying complicates your life and adds to your stress. The other big thing, though, that women have a tendency to do is somebody asks them, are you okay? And women go, yeah, I'm fine. I'm fine. Is anything wrong? No, nothing's wrong. I'm fine. Right? And I know it's not just women who do this, but since we happen to be a group of women, I think that some of you can relate to that. Has anybody here ever done anything like that where they've said they were okay when they weren't? Clap your hands if you've ever done that. Yeah. Yeah. So this is big. I know that you probably know it, and you think I'd like to live my life that way, but what I'd like to challenge you to do is take this next week, especially if you're feeling a lot of stress right now, and start looking for those places in your life where you're not communicating the whole truth. The challenge here is that when you do communicate the truth, you may hit up conflict. Why is that? How come truth brings conflict? Shouldn't speaking your truth lead to only good stuff? How come truth brings conflict? It can hurt others. It's uncomfortable to hear. It's uncomfortable to say. If I flat out, I overcommitted myself and am unable to make it to the party light event that I promised that I would attend, it's really uncomfortable to say the truth. It's much easier to say, oh, the dog has to go to the vet. My husband says I can't go out tonight. Right? It's so much easier to give some type of excuse or partial truth because it's hard for us to admit what the whole story is, or simultaneously, the person may not want to hear it. What do you mean you overcommitted? You promised. You said you'd be here. You told me you would stand up for me. You told me you would represent your organization for my business. Right? And so it's hard because when you communicate your truth, not everybody's going to necessarily respond favorably to it. So why would I suggest that you do it? No guesses?
It relieves the stress of having to lie.
It relieves the stress of not telling the whole truth. And believe me, if you don't put it out there, what happens is this kind of like internal voice in your head gets bigger and bigger and bigger and becomes a monster. And what you're trying to do is say, I'm willing to stand up and face the initial conflict because I know that that's small in its magnitude compared to how big this could snowball should I let it run its course by not speaking my whole truth. So your number 2 remedy, or your number 2 prescription tool is inject truth into your life. Inject some truth into your life. So you monitor your diet and exercise, you inject some truth into your life, and then there's number 3. And number 3, I got from a stress management book, and I apologize deeply. There was a woman who, I believe her name was Meg, I can't remember her last name, who wrote this book. So if you need the author, please contact me. I'll share with you. But it's specifically on the subject of stress management, and she talks about dogs. You didn't know I was going there, did you? You going to draw a dog for us? All right. What she does is she says, dogs are very easy to know. Because when you have a dog or even another animal pet in your life, you know what it is that pleases them or satisfies them or brings them joy. So give me some examples of things that bring dogs joy. Food. It's up there on the list. It's one of the top 5. Belly rubs. Belly rubs. You know what that is? That's attention from their humans. It's attention from their loved ones, right? So yeah, they absolutely love food and they love attention from their loved ones with those belly rubs and other nice touchy stroking kind of stuff. Rubbing the ears, right? What else? I heard another one, going for walks. Walks. Oh, they love to get out. And in the book, it specifically says they love to smell new things. It's not just being outdoors, but it's new smells, right? It's new smells. There's something else they like to do when they're socialized with other animals. They like to do what with other? They like to play with other dogs. They like to play with other dogs. So they want to play. They want to eat. They want to have time with their loved ones. That seems pretty cool, right? Does that sound anything at all like what your treat list might be? Now, how many people are guilty of this? Honey, I see that you're really stressed out. What can I do for you? Nothing, I don't know. What do you mean you don't know? Now you know. Honey, I need to go for a walk. I want to smell new things. I want a belly rub. I want to go play with my girlfriends. I want to go play with you. I think we need to go for a walk in the park. I think we just need to go to an amusement park and go on some rides, right? You need to know what your treat list is. If you're offended by comparing yourself to your dog's treat list, then don't make your list the same as the dog's, but make your own. So that when somebody says to you, hey, Jody, I see that you might be feeling stressed lately. What can I do for you? You say, here's my treat list. Can you fill out anything here? You know, you can hand it right up. Can you do anything here? Right? Not that you seem stressed, by the way. You just happen to be right across from me. Can be perfectly at peace. I'll ask you later. But, you know, do you understand how that works? It's a really fun, exciting thing that we sometimes disconnect from what our treat list is. And by putting that on permanent record, when someone asks, we don't have to come up with an answer. We can just refer them to the treat list and say, you know what, I guarantee if you do any of these 5 things for me, I'm going to be feeling really good. So the first thing you do is you monitor your diet and exercise. And then you inject some truth. And then what you have to do is you have to know your treat list. Do those sound like some pretty good tools for stress? We're not done yet. Oh no. There's a big thing still coming up, because now, how do we really make this happen in our lives day after day? And this one remedy is something that's more longer lasting. Those tools are when you're feeling the stress and you need something quick, you do those 3 things. But what happens when you're going day after day and you don't want the stress to sneak up on you? What do you suppose we need to do about that? We need a remedy so that we don't get caught up in those moments where we get slammed with stress. Any guesses as to what our remedy might be? A way to make yourself take some time off. There's a piece of that that's the knowing that you need time off, that recognition. That's going to be a part of our remedy. What else?
Learning to say no.
Learning to say no. So some of these things that we're hearing right now are things that we might be impacted by that impact our stress, right? So you're recognizing when you need time away or time off. You're learning to say no. Any other examples? Any other things you can think of? Give me one more. Learn to delegate. So you say no, you delegate, you know when you need time off, and
I was going to say, take some time for yourself every day for at least one of these things.
There's a fabulous woman here named Andrea Lambert, and she always talks about how important it is to play with your inner child. Take time out for yourself and really know what it is that you need that makes you feel complete with that time for yourself. Delegate, say no, have some recognition. Okay, all of those do fit into this one big remedy. This remedy that I'm thinking of is called mindfulness. Now, I'd love to tell you that I wrote the book on mindfulness. I came up with the concept all on my own, but guess what? Wasn't me. There's a number of books that are out there that will go into mindfulness in more detail for you, but I'm just going to give you a 5-minute version here today about what mindfulness is. Mindfulness is about being present. And if you are present in the moment and you live in today, you will recognize whether or not you've taken those couple of minutes out for yourself. You will recognize when it's time to say no. You will recognize when it's time to delegate. You will recognize when you need to just re-energize. because you are practicing mindfulness. You are being present in today. Now that sounds easy enough. Be present in today. But how many of you right now, as you are listening to me talk, have me tuned out because you are thinking of what you need to do next week or something that happened yesterday or last week? Just raise your hand, no clapping. Raise your hand. No, nobody, come on, be honest. Is anybody?
Thinking about that piece of chicken.
You're thinking about that piece of chicken, right? Or we have somebody at that table, Henrietta, who didn't give us her elevator speech because some of us were a little long-winded. And so I'm thinking, maybe we need to get her elevator speech. We need to find out what she's about. So you may be thinking about that piece of chicken, thinking about somebody who was left out, right? You may be thinking about what else? What else? What? Family. You may be thinking about family. By the way, if you are thinking about your piece of chicken, eat while I'm talking. If it shows up, eat it. You may be thinking about your family, and there's a lot that goes on with family. What are some of the different things that go on with family? Where are the kids right now? Did the husband pick up the kids like he was supposed to? Right? Did we feed the dogs? In my case, did we lock the dogs up, or are they running loose in the house? Right? Right. So you're thinking about a number of things that could be going on. So if you're present, if you practice mindfulness, what would change? What would change in your thought process? You would enjoy things more. You would be here. Whether you get information from me or the people that are talking in this room or a side conversation from your neighbor, you would be present to get something here today. If you could fully allow yourself to experience the moment. You enjoy your life more when you're in the moment. The other big component of this is when you are thinking about yesterday or tomorrow, you are living with that voice in your head. And some people call it the ego. Some people call it monkey chatter. Some people call it a beast. But this is the words or the recording that goes round and round that says, I should've, would've, could've. Should've, would've, could've. Right? And have you ever done this where you beat yourself up because you went to a meeting and it had a lot of potential and it didn't go the way you anticipated? And so you walk out and you say, I shoulda, woulda, coulda, and I can't believe I didn't do it, and why didn't I? And that's so horrible. And instead of saying, okay, right now, what can I take away so I know for the future? We say, I can't believe I did that. I'm so mad at myself. I really will never do that again, right? And we're just focused on what didn't work. Or some of us go into the future and say, well, that really sucked, but in the future, maybe I could do something totally different. And we kind of abandon something that was important to us because it didn't go well. And so we lose something of value. And so the thing about mindfulness is if you have a bad experience, you allow yourself to be in that bad experience. Sometimes things don't go well. Sometimes when you tell the truth, people aren't going to like it. Okay, by the way, being truthful doesn't mean being tactless. Just for the record. Being truthful does not mean telling it like it is, like Dr. Phil, everywhere you go. But back to where we were. When you're being in the moment, and here you are allowing yourself that ability to be mindful, you eliminate that monkey chatter, that beast that's saying, I should have, would have, could have, and you allow yourself to have a bad experience. And you say, I had that bad experience. And you know what? I feel really sad or upset or angry about that. And I choose to allow that emotion. And now I know I will write down on my list what my lessons were from this experience and allow myself to then be in my next thing that day. Rather than taking that bad experience home to the family and yelling at the dog, the kids, and the spouse, or taking it to the next client who you've had for years, and so you sort of abuse that client because they know you and they'll tolerate it, those kinds of relationships. Rather than taking it home with you, if you allow yourself the experience and say, I'm going to write down what my lessons were here. You're being present, you're feeling the upset, and you're moving on into your next thing. You can experience joy more fully. Be present. The same is true for the good stuff. Just like bad moments happen, good moments happen. The other day, my husband and I were out driving, and he was in the left lane driving forward, and somebody made a U-turn in front of him. I kid you not, literally from the right lane, made a U-turn across his lane. Guess where John had to go? Straight into the car. Okay, so boom, crash. Good news. Everybody's okay, right? So bad moment, good news, right? All right, go a couple days later, they tell me my car's total. All right, bad news. Bad moment. Fully upsetting because this was the first car I had ever bought. You know, I'd bought it brand new. I'd had it for 5 years, so she wasn't new anymore, but to me, you know, still my first car. And so it was pretty upsetting. Now, if I started thinking about what needed to happen in the future or what happened about how John should have been driving or how that lady should have, would have, could have not turned in front of us, I would have been lost in those voices. And what I needed to do is allow myself to just address each of the issues at hand. And the issue at hand was, where does my car need to go? Who do I need to talk to at the insurance companies? How do I get a check? How much money will I get? And how can I get a new vehicle? Guess what we drive now? A minivan. Yes, which you'd think my kids love. We don't have kids. Newly married. My dogs, though, think it's the best house they've ever owned. When something bad happens, if you practice mindfulness, you're allowing yourself to take care of the details at hand, taking care of managing the insurance companies, taking care about finding out what happens next, taking care about whatever details need to take place, remembering what needs to take place, and allowing yourself the space to let something new and good come from the experience. Because whether your moment is bad or whether your moment is good, doing the shoulda, woulda, coulda thing doesn't help. Being present allows you to just handle it, manage it effectively, and then let something new and something good come to you. Doesn't that sound great? So I challenge you to go back into your lives, inject some truth, and practice being in the moment. Tonight, when you go home and you're with your dogs, your cat, your kids, your spouse, your best friend, the television, ask yourself, am I in this moment right now? And if not, what notes do I need to make about challenges I faced in order to fully release anything that's happened or will happen and give myself the strength and ability to be in this moment? Doesn't that sound nice? Don't you think your friends will appreciate you that much more if you're actually there with them rather than thinking about every million thing? By the way, if you can't fully be with somebody, cancel the appointment. If you know for a fact that you are not in that place to fully be with your client or to fully be with your friend who you haven't seen in 3 months and you had this one meeting scheduled, it's okay to cancel and tell the truth about it. I want to be fully present for you. I'm not in this moment. Let's schedule a chance when we can be fully present with each other. Be mindful. Doesn't that sound like a great remedy? Can anybody tell me how they're going to apply the mindfulness in their lives right now when they leave here? Anybody that's going to do something different with that remedy? Yes, Melissa, back of the room.
I'm going to review my schedule of appointments and really honestly look at apportioning the right time for each appointment and not forcing myself to try and please 1,000 people in a short period of time.
What a great example. And if I can get it so that we can hear clearly what Melissa said, not that you didn't say it clearly, but for the audio portion of things, is that she's saying what I'm going to do is reevaluate my schedule to make sure that I can be fully present with the people that I've scheduled myself to be with, rather than trying to accommodate so many people that I feel the bill too big, right? And so then I can't get to everybody. Is that a fair kind of interpretation? Not exactly as eloquent as you, but a little bit of a rework. The trick is, that's a great example because that's what happens to us. We feel like we need to say yes to so many people that sometimes we overschedule and overcommit, and people will appreciate us that much more if we can go back and say, I need to reschedule 2 days or 2 weeks from now. So that sounds like a great, great way to apply it. I need one more example of application. One more example of what you'll do differently with any of the 3 tools or the mindfulness. If you're going to do something, because I know you've got food, so I know you can't say anything more. If you're going to do something about mindfulness or do one of the 3 tools that we talked about in your prescription, monitor your diet and exercise, communicate your truth, or know your treat list, clap your hands if you're going to do something. So what I encourage you to do when you do your accelerated networking, if you meet somebody you really like, ask them what they're going to do, and maybe you guys can share personal experiences, because that intimate sharing we get even more from. And I hope you'll be able to do that. Wherever you are in your path in this life, I honor you. Namaste. I look forward to being of service to you now, tonight, and in the future. And I honor Greg for doing a fantastic job.